and I took a step back and, okay, I get it.
And here comes this guy with a smile on his face like, hey, dude, what took you so long? He's like, oh, you shut up.
Employees got fired after finding out he is the undercover boss. What happens when the lines between trust and deception blur in the workplace? When a CEO, driven by curiosity, goes undercover as an ordinary employee, the stage is set for a terrifying revelation that will leave you questioning everything. In this video, we'll tell you some crazy stories about employees who had no idea what was coming their way. So there's this episode of Undercover Boss where the Minchi CEO, Amit, goes undercover to see what it's like working at his own company. So basically he's checking if Drew is really making customers smile the way the company wants. But Amit is kinda surprised that Drew isn't really hyped about showing him what to do. Drew seems kinda bored and not really into the usual stuff like cleaning tables and talking to customers. Amit thinks the store is a big deal for the company because it's growing really fast. He's hoping to see for himself if Minchi shift leaders really embody the "we make you smile" philosophy that's at the heart of their brand. So Amit went to the store and pretended to be named Alan, his new team member.
Hi!
I'm looking for Drew.
Yep, that's me.
Hi, I'm Alan.
Hi!
He's all set to start working since he just joined the Minchi store for his first day. As Alan talks to his supervisor Drew, he realizes that she's not really into it and not giving him much direction. Drew just tells Alan to put something on the scale and says, "Have a good one," without really talking much. Alan wants his training to be more fun and helpful. He finds himself cleaning tables and handling front of the house tasks, but Drew fails to provide proper instruction or explanations. So she just expects Alan to catch on without any clear direction, which leaves him feeling lost and unsure. Things go downhill when Drew asks a customer to tie her shoe, showing a lack of responsibility.
Can you tie my shoe? Please, I have chocolate on my hand. Oh my god. Thanks, friend.
To make matters worse, she just randomly calls Alan Jeeves for no reason at all.
Jeeves, get the slicer.
Okay.
I don't have to do anything.
Alan is feeling frustrated and asks Drew to show him exactly how she wants things done. But instead of answering his questions and addressing his worries, Drew brushes them off and seems impatient. The way Alan and Drew were talking didn't sit well with our undercover boss, who was watching everything. The boss thinks Drew's training style and attitude towards the responsibilities are not cool and don't match the organization's standards. So when Amit talks to Drew and tells her how he feels, he's pretty bummed out. He tells her that the way she's been acting isn't cool and isn't what he wants from a shift leader at Minchi's. He talks to Drew about her rude behavior, especially when she calls him her butler.
Anorexic?
Yep. I like to say melanoma or bust.
But hey, Amit's a cool dude and he gives Drew a shot at redemption. He's hooking her up with some top-notch shift leaders in the company for some killer training. If Drew doesn't get better after the training, she'll have to say bye-bye to her job. Amit is thinking about his time at the store with Drew as the shift leader and wondering what went wrong with his business. He's like, "She didn't even show me any respect and straight up called me a demeaning name."
As you were calling me Jeeves, your butler.
That was just a joke.
So even though Amit was unsure at first, he's not ready to give up on Drew just yet. He's giving her the opportunity to train and learn from some really awesome shift leaders in the company. Drew's totally into improving her performance, and Amit's excited to see her progress.
Drew, I'd like to send you to train and mentor with some of our best shift leaders in the country. You'd be interested in doing.
Yeah.
In another episode, an undercover boss from Retro Fitness goes to their busiest location in order to uncover the truth behind the rudest manager they have heard about. The boss wants to know what's going on behind the scenes and fix any problems that are hurting the business. The undercover boss is in for a surprise at Retro Fitness. He has no idea what's about to go down. When working at the front desk of a busy building, the boss expects the staff to be energetic, enthusiastic, and able to do their jobs well. He meets Jacqueline, an employee who seems excited to meet the undercover boss. But it's pretty clear that Jacqueline's more into taking selfies than helping the customers out.
I find myself over here, like this, taking pictures of myself. You can run your...
Jacqueline's not really a fan of customers and doesn't mind letting people know. She's like, sometimes I just want to punch customers who ask too many questions. It's so frustrating.
I don't know what to do with some people. I just want to punch them in the face sometimes.
Oh, that would be bad.
You'll get there.
She's usually lost in her own thoughts and doesn't really interact with customers or help them out much. So the boss goes undercover and sees that Jacqueline isn't really into the job and doesn't seem to care much about customers. She doesn't seem to care much about helping people, which makes him wonder if she's really cut out for the job. Jacqueline's not really meeting the company's expectations for front desk employees who are supposed to be on top of things and ready to help customers. So the boss is showing Jacqueline how to make a smoothie and realizes she's adding extra stuff that isn't needed. So basically the business is losing a lot of money because she just throws away the extra shake instead of giving out samples or finding other ways to use it.
I noticed that there was like extra in here. Like, what do you guys like make samples out of that? You don't offer it to the member at all. You just
dump it out.
So the boss is trying to help Jacqueline out by reminding her to stick to the menu and use the right measurements. But Jacqueline doesn't really seem to care about the company's profits or making sure the members are happy. This person gets called out for being mean and someone's like, hey, make my smoothie the way I want it, please. But Jacqueline is still acting all high and mighty, not willing to take any feedback or helpful advice. When they finally showed it, Jacqueline had to deal with both the boss and the franchise owner. So they're dealing with Jacqueline's behavior and vibe and haven't decided what to do about her job yet. Jacqueline got fired from Retro Fitness and her job was over.
You got stabbed in the back.
I can't make it any more clear. I can't have you behind the counter like this. I'm disappointed, Jack.
Thank you, Jacqueline.
So the CEO saw Jacqueline acting up during the undercover operation, and now Bob, the franchisee owner, has been called in to deal with it. He's basically saying he wouldn't put up with someone like Jacqueline working for him. So in this other episode, Kendall Jackson, the big boss, goes undercover to check out an employee who seems to really hate their job. The employee is Jake, and he wants to know what's really going on in the company. He teams up with Renee, a pro driver, to get the lowdown on the ins and outs of the gig. Just like any job, there are good days and bad days, and Jake figures out pretty fast that it's not all sunshine and rainbows. So on their first day working together, Jake notices that Renee's not really filling the customers, and he's using some pretty uncool language.
And here comes this guy with a smile on his face like, hey, dude, what took you so long? He's like, oh, you shut up. I'm like, I already called the company and told him you're...
He also sees how tough it can be for drivers, like having to stick to tight schedules and dealing with picky customers. Jake is totally surprised by Renee's use of inappropriate language and thinks his customer service skills are not cool. So yeah, the employee gets fired in the end. Jake thinks it's necessary because of how they were acting.
But your actions and the way you, I don't know, I almost fired him today.
No, hey, I mean, I can tell from your voice you're pissed.
Jake is so bummed out by that employee's rude attitude towards customers. Jake's basically saying the employee might be cool, but the way he acts and does things doesn't match up with what the company expects in terms of service and professionalism. Jake's thinking of firing the employee right away because he wants to keep up the top-notch service and doesn't want employees acting in a way that doesn't meet concierge-level service.